Electric vehicles, cars powered by batteries instead of gasoline, are having a moment. Registrations of EVs are surging, not just in Vermont, but nationwide. According to Drive Electric Vermont, a website that tracks sales and other data around them, plug in electric vehicles, or EVs, are registered in 98% of all Vermont communities. The number of EVs in the state increased by nearly 2,300 vehicles, or 35% over last year. Electric vehicles were also 7% of all new light duty vehicle sales from January through December of 2022, and about 16% of plug in vehicles registered were leased. According to the Federal Department of Energy, California has the greatest number of vehicles, approximately 37% of all EVs nationwide. Florida has the second highest count, followed by Texas. By comparison, Vermont is still something of a laggard, but that is changing rapidly. Range anxiety, how far you can drive on a single charge, along with the cost of one, are two factors that are often cited as to why more customers don't buy EVs. But often it's simply a lack of knowledge about them that slows people down when it comes to time to purchase a new car, says Dave Roberts of Drive Electric Vermont, with whom we had a chance to talk at length about electric vehicles.
The current market conditions are getting a little bit better than where they were maybe a year or two ago during the COVID supply chain, the worst of the COVID supply chain time, where buying any vehicle, new or used, was quite expensive and challenging. There's still some limits on availability of inventory at dealers and whatnot, but it's gotten quite a bit better, fortunately. So, folks who are in the market for an EV can probably have their pick of a few options as long as they don't need it tomorrow. Question: the incentives have been a really important way to make EVs more available to folks who are price conscious in Vermont. Affordability is a big issue. EVs do tend to cost a little bit more upfront compared to gasoline vehicles before you factor in incentives. So that's why federal, state, and utility programs have been developed that help to address some of those upfront barriers. Longer term, EVs can actually save money, significant money. Basically, the more you drive, the more you can save, because the cost equivalent of driving on electricity is, on average in Vermont, it's just over about $1.50 a gallon gasoline cost equivalent. So, and in some cases, probably most of the folks seeing this in your area are Green Mountain Power customers, and Green Mountain Power has special off-peak EV rates that can bring that cost down even further, and benefit everyone, essentially, even folks who aren't participating in EV programs, by using more energy during those off-peak periods. So this is an example of a new Chevrolet Bolt 2023. It has about 260 miles of official range. In winter, we tell folks the worst case scenario is see about half of the official manufacturer's range estimates. So some models will do significantly better than that, but if you kind of go into it thinking the worst that you'll ever see is half, that's, you should be in pretty good shape. So most folks in Vermont aren't doing more than 100 miles of travel a day, so the EVs still work just fine in winter. They actually can perform better in snow than comparable gasoline vehicles because the batteries have a lot of mass and it's evenly distributed over the wheels, so it can actually help improve traction compared to some of the comparable gasoline vehicles. So in this example, we've got the starting price for the Bolt is at $26,500. And it is eligible for federal tax credit. There were a number of changes with the Federal Inflation Reduction Act to which vehicles are eligible for tax credits. They do have to be assembled in North America, and there are battery content and manufacturing requirements to determine eligibility on a purchase. If you lease an EV, then the federal tax credit eligibility is much more open. The leasing company can qualify under the commercial tax credit, which doesn't have those same requirements. And so some of the automakers that aren't assembling in North America, like Kia or Hyundai, which are currently made in Korea, they're passing through a tax credit as part of a lease deal, but you wouldn't see that on a purchase. So it is a tax credit as well, so you need to have tax liability to offset it. So there are some issues with it. Starting in January of next year, dealers are supposed to have a mechanism where they can pass through the value of this credit right at the point of sale, which will be really nice, especially for someone who's lower income. So in this example, we've got two columns, and the second column is someone who's sort of less than $50,000 or $60,000 in adjusted gross income, which is the income measure that's used to determine eligibility for the state and federal programs. So provided somebody can take advantage of that, you're knocking $7,500 off. For sort of a standard moderate income Vermont household, they can qualify for a $2,500 state incentive. They can also, if they have a 10-year-old or older vehicle that is operable, that they're ready to scrap, they can turn that in, get an extra $2,500. Or if they're in the lower income category, the state provides more support. So that's up to $5,000 for Replace Your Ride. And then in your area, it's going to be mostly GMP. GMP has a really great incentive program for a vehicle. It's $2,200 is their standard incentive, and then another $1,000 for folks who meet their income eligibility requirements. So provided somebody can qualify for all of these programs, you're talking about, a $26,000 vehicle down to $12,000 or even around $6,000 if all of these stack up in just the right way.
To check out how area residents are responding to more choices in the electric car market, we stopped by Langway's car dealership in Manchester, where we met up with Israel Diaz, one of their sales representatives, who showed us one of the new Volkswagen models they had on their sales lot.
Yeah, so right here is the ID4. This is the Pro. It does come in numerous models, a Pro, Pro S, and a Pro S Plus. The great things about these vehicles is that they are able to get up to 285 for range. You can plug them in, of course, right at your house. We also provide chargers that come with them, and also another great thing about these vehicles is that they have a lot of cool features in them. They are our number 2 selling vehicle here. We do have other vehicles that people love that are gas, but right here, this is the electric one where people are drawing their attention. And we got a lot of calls on these type of vehicles. There was a time where we had about 6 of them on the lot, and they went in a week. People are just enjoying the new development of the electric vehicles. There are a couple cool features in here. So I'm gonna press this button, right? You see right here, it's a lot different than a normal vehicle. You would slide this, push this up if you wanted to go and drive, push it down if you wanted to go in neutral or reverse. Then it has the regenerative braking. And to park, funny thing is you just press right here on the side and it parks it. And the cool thing about this vehicle is when you open the door, the vehicle shuts off by itself. And this one doesn't have the massage seats, but we do have some that have the massage seats, of course. Then right here you see, and let me turn this off. A lot of this is touchscreen. All of this right here is touchscreen. You can play around with it, go all around, mess with it, and it's all touchscreen.
Meanwhile, at the Manchester Recreation Park on Saturday, September 23rd, from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., an electric drive-in will take place in the parking lot in front of the pool house. There will be several electric cars on hand, including Tesla, Nissan Leaf, and Chevy Bolt. Plug-in hybrids will also be available for those who aren't ready to make the transition to an all-electric vehicle. Owners will speak about their experience of driving an electric vehicle, and information on incentives will be available. For the GNAT-TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.